Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 152 of the Seezus show. I know it's been a while, but we had to let the second round of the NBA playoffs just marinate, let it play out, let it pan out, and see, how things, you know, shook up. So hope you enjoyed our predictions, obviously as a unit with Carl Conyers, Terrence Whaley, and myself. We got some predictions right and some predictions wrong. I can't lie to you. It's been definitely a roller coaster, so to say, with everything that's kind of been going on. So hope you guys enjoyed episode 151. And just to, rehash 151, it was Carl Conyers, myself, Terrence Whaley. We discussed the first round rehash. We had our predictions for the semifinals. We questioned if LeBron should consider retiring anytime in the foreseeable future. Dame Achilles injury, Giannis, whether he should call it quits or not with, just the state of where the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be at. Sinners movie breakdown, and with pop culture, 100 men versus one gorilla. So, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode and continue to, show love and support, and follow on all forms of social media at the Seezus Show, at Sir Seezus, at Carl Conyers, and Terrence Whaley _ as well too. Sorry about that. So this episode's a little different, and hence in a sense, it's a emergency pod, and it won't be as long as the typical episodes, which run around a little over an hour. But with the playoffs, conference finals from both sides approaching, it's only right, just to get my thoughts on everything as well too. But before we get into the Eastern Conference Finals and the Western Conference Finals preview, just want to, shed light on a couple of things as well too. So with these semifinals, man, it was crazy. I had Celtics in five. If we're, just going to talk about that Celtics Knicks matchup as well too, I was pretty shocked that it was the Knicks in five. Um, and it's crazy because I feel like just seeing that series unfold, it's really a new era. And when I say a new era, it's really a new era of they're not being dynasties, two peats, three peats, whatever you want to call it. And if memory serves me correctly, I think this is going to be the seventh year that there's been a new champion. Going back from, I think, the Kawhi. So I think 2019 we had the Raptors, 2020 in the bubble we had the Lakers, 2021 I want to say we had the Milwaukee Bucks, 2022 um we had the who do we have? The Golden State Warriors. 2023 we had the after the Golden State Warriors, who do we have? Oh, the Denver Nuggets. And then 2024, we had the Boston Celtics. And just going into the season, if you'd have told me the Boston Celtics would get bumped out the second round, that would have been like you're smoking crack or something like that as well too. So that was pretty interesting to just see how that series pan out. And I gotta give love to Coach Tibbs, man. I thought that Tibbs was gonna get out coached by Joe Mazzulla. And I thought that the Celtics just had too much firepower. But at the end of the day, they lost fair and square. And obviously one of the biggest reasons why, the series ended in five games as opposed to it getting extended or being flipped around the other way was with Jason Tatum's, Achilles tendon tear. And we're gonna get a little bit into that. So Jason Tatum got hurt. We also seen Porzingis get hurt, and showing crazy symptoms that I'm not going to share with what social media's kind of been talking about. So that was kind of like their their get out of jail free card, you know, their luxury brand, so to say, as well too. That was basically what had them have all the Infinity Stones. So to see him not play to his potential and battle health problems, that kind of sucked. But the Celtics clearly were the better team, and I just feel like I think at least three of those games they were up by 20 points or so. So they should have been took care of business. But it also just made me think, did Joe Mazzulla get exposed? And when I say that, it's he has a philosophy where we're going to get into our analytical games and try to outshoot you by the numbers, and we should win marginally. So that clearly didn't work out. I feel like they could have changed their approach, especially when they were up. You have two wing players who can play at all three levels. Um, and they really just didn't take advantage of getting to the paint, drawing fouls, and getting quality shots and really controlling the pace and the tempo and the shot clock of the game and those aspects as well too. So when you get up a lot of shots, it may not fall in your favor, and that's just easier transition buckets for the other team. So I got to give it to the Knicks for battling back and making it a series for the ages to remember as well too. So excited about for that franchise and seeing Jalen Brunson where there's been narratives where a smaller guard can't lead a team as a number one option. He's kind of breaking that right now. So I'm proud of him. Cat obviously got traded over there. Mikal Bridges got traded over there. OG Anunoby's healthy, so they did their thing, and there's a reason why he got the Clutch Player of the Year, and he did his thing as well too. So I got to give them nothing but love and nothing but respect as well too. So it's going to be interesting to see how the next matchup with the Pacers pan out, and also what happens next with the Boston Celtics as well too. We know they're going to be over the apron. We know they have. I think their luxury tax is going to be more than their actual salary for the upcoming year. So clearly, we know that Porzingis, um, Derek White, Drew Holiday, are going to be possibly shipped around. We don't know yet. All of them seem like tradable assets as well too. So I can definitely see a tinkered lineup going into next season as well too. And obviously Jason Tatum's going to be out of the picture for next year. So this is going to be exciting to see what Jaylen Brown can do as a number one option as well too. So if I know anything, I know Brad Stevens. Granted, they have a new ownership, but I know with Brad Stevens, he um, has been one of the best GMs, quiet as kept. So I expect him to trying to find a way to stay afloat. I still think with their coach, with Jaylen Brown being one of the premier players in the league, being one of the best two-way players, and like I said, Brad Stevens, I think they have a shot at still being a playoff contending team or a playoff team rather. Championship aspirations, no, but they should they should do something well. And then from there, we had a series with the Cavs and Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers. That was another series. I think I had. I want to say I think I you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I think I had the Cavs in 6 or 7. I want to say 7. Um, and obviously with the Cavs, I think they only lost 14, 15 games this, past regular season. So we knew going into that series that Garland was hobbled. I didn't know how many games he was going to miss, but from a team from start to finish, they were just well oiled. And I thought that with the Twin Towers that they had with Allen and they had with Mobley being the defensive player of the year, Donovan Mitchell being the stud, taking that step back and letting the other starters flourish and the bench flourish, the acquisition of DeAndre Hunter. I just thought that they were going to be the better team as well too, but that series kind of just let me know that a couple things. One, your team has to be battle tested. Like Indiana was clearly A lot of people like to talk about the smoke that they've dodged, not only this playoff run with injuries in the first and second round, but also last year. But, they kept their continuity. They got another additional year under their belt with them with experience. Pascal was the one that got traded mid last season too. So, um, and they had Benedict Mathurin come back as well too. That wasn't there last year. So they have their identity. They're playoff tested. They've shown that they can battle from behind. They've shown that they can play well in crunch time, and they have a lot of depth as well too. So I think where the series kind of changed was game two. The Cavs are just confident from the top down that they could at least win one game because they had a pretty good road record, and things just didn't pan out. But even with Mobley out with his ankle injury, and I think DeAndre Hunter had like a hand injury, and obviously Garland with the toe injury. They were still up 20 in the second game, and they blew that lead. They let Tyrese Halliburton miss the free throw, get the get the rebound over six people, dribble the ball back, step back three to basically end that. So I knew once they went down 2-0, and with Garland just missing so many times, I just knew that it was going to be a disaster. So it sucks. Because that series is just a little odd from the Cavs standpoint. I truly feel like I don't necessarily know if the Cavs would have won that series, but I just feel like if they were fully healthy to start the series, it would have been a better outcome. But in the end, it's tough, man. They did what they had to do. And it's time that we, as NBA culture, just take them serious as well too. And the thing that's just weird about Indiana is like, by definition, Tyrese Halliburton is a superstar. Pascal obviously is a all NBA type of player, but when you look at that team compared to the other number one options on teams, even the number two option on teams, they're not really glaring at you, right? So I think it's time for us to take them serious, man. And obviously we had the Warriors going up against the Minnesota Timberwolves as well too. I had Minnesota winning in six, I believe. And they won in five. And it's just another thing that I've come to realize is a reoccurring thing, right? Where playoffs is really about adjustments that you're making, whether it's, with rotations, um, how you choose to switch, how you choose to run your offense and transition out of timeouts. And most importantly, who's healthy? Because one can argue if Steph Curry was 100%, like I said, I don't know the outcome, but I don't know the entire series outcome, but I do know that the games would have been handled differently as well too. Like just his gravity that he commands on both ends, mostly obviously offense, like is like no other as well too. So I ain't gonna lie, like once he tweaked his hamstring and spotted them those like 13 points, I just kind of knew that the series was over. So I kind of loosely paid attention to that series. Um, but it looks like Ant-Man and Julius Randle kind of did their thing. Playoff Jimmy didn't show up like we wanted him to. And then just looking at Jonathan Kuminga, you're just like, damn, like I know he battled ankle injuries, contract problems, but it just seemed like him and Steve Kerr just were never on that right track. So it just makes you think what's going to happen with him this upcoming season. And it makes you think like, why couldn't you guys integrate Jimmy with Kuminga with Steph as well too? Um, Things could have just been different, but it is what it is at the end of the day. So shout out to Ant-Man, shout out to Minnesota, and big shout out to Julius Randle. I know people like to joke on him. I'm one of the people who in the past that obviously looked at his injuries and, playoff performances that didn't match his regular season success. But this year in general, man, he's upped his game to another level. And he's been taking advantage of his mismatches, and I've been most impressed with him being a threat more so than the past couple of years from the 3-point line as well too. So um, it's crazy to think like who won the trade, right? Did Minnesota win the trade? Did New York win the trade? Because if you ask both franchises, both fan bases, players from the team, coaching staff, whatever, ownership, whatever, I think both of them are going to give themselves a pat on the back. So got to give love to them. That's their second time um, going to the Western Conference Finals, and it's house money now. And then, last but not least, obviously we had the Oklahoma City Thunder going up against the Denver Nuggets as well too. And that by far, hands down, was the best series that lived up to the hype as well too. Um, Everyone kept saying that the experience of the Denver Nuggets was going to be what was going to take over or get them over the hump this time as well too. That championship DNA, that championship pedigree. But at the end of the day, man, they were outcoached. Shea showed up when he needed to. Their defense, their athleticism, their youth, timely shots. Um, they just battled. They just battled. And I feel like at the end of the day, had Aaron Gordon not strained his hamstring and had Michael Porter Jr. not, messed up his shoulder, I think the series would have been a lot more different. And honestly, when you looked at the numbers, OKC pretty much outmatched them in every category, major category. So I was a little nervous when they let game one go, but just with how things kind of played out, I was like, I wasn't worried. Especially when I saw game six, I was like, all right, like Braun's making shots, Westbrook's making shots. Obviously, Joker's going crazy. Like everyone was just clipping at a high level, and OKC generated good looks, but at the same time, I knew they were going to play better at home. And one person that I was kind of nervous about was Jalen Williams, and he showed up. He was about to be on fraud watch, fraud alert, but he lived another day because I was about to go off. This podcast would have been a lot more different, and I probably would have been saying to put him on the trade block, but he did his thing. He stepped up, and this was a great series, like I said, and Shea proved why he was the MVP and did what he did when it mattered the most as well too. I'm just a little upset. Sometimes I think the league can be a little bit rigged, and when I say that is at least the last couple of years, once we went away from the NBA award ceremony that happens after the playoffs, so no one cares. Um, I just feel like they should have given the MVP award out to whoever was supposed to win or is going to win in their home, in their one of their home games. So it just made me think, I was like, are they withholding and, kind of just thinking about like, hey, if Shea wins, we'll give it to him next round in the beginning, one or two, because both of them have home court advantage versus Minnesota. Or if Joker wins, maybe we'll give it to him. We'll withhold it. So part of me is a little skeptical. Maybe they just didn't want to take away from him, but I feel like that would have intensified and motivated the players more, not just from an individual standpoint, but from the roster standpoint with the players in their rotation as well too. But Shea did his thing, and I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, how the Western Conference Finals pans out as well too. So that was a semifinals preview, and like I said, that was a good preview as well too. And going back to it, I'm a little sad, man. Not gonna lie, I'm a little sad, man, with my boy, my boy Jason Tatum, bro. So just to rehash with you guys, I want to read the exact, you know, media outlets, sources in regards to Jason Tatum's injury. So he suffered a ruptured Achilles tendon during game four of the Eastern Conference semifinals against the New York Knicks. And the injury occurred late in the fourth quarter as Tatum was diving for a loose ball. He was immediately taken off the court and underwent surgery the following day performed by Dr. Martin O'Malley, who's a renowned specialist known for treating high profile athletes, most notable for Kevin Durant. And obviously, with the Achilles rupture, that is one of the worst injuries to have in all of sports. But obviously, with this, we're focusing on basketball. So just with your jumping, your cuts, your athleticism, your confidence, it can take a lot away from that as well too. Obviously, we've seen some success. Mike Conley seemed like he came back well from it. Obviously, Kevin Durant back in the day, Dominique Wilkins. So the fact that Jason Tatum got it right away, they say that he may be able to return at a faster rate. And at the same time, he's young. He's, I think, 26 or 27, one of those ages as well, too, compared to Katie when he hurt his. I think he was 30, 31. So I think Tatum is gonna make a great comeback as well, too. It's tough, man, because maybe I'm tripping. And obviously it's one of the things with him playing on the Boston Celtics, but I just feel like just listening to social media and these different outlets that speak and talk the game, Tatum gets a lot of hate and it's unnecessary hate. Like, obviously, he's not LeBron James, right? But at the same time, it's like, hey, yo, like, if he plays bad, they're ready to shit on him, saying he's not a franchise player and all this other stuff. If he plays well, it's like, oh, this is what you're supposed to do. I mean, clearly you're supposed to do that, but this guy's been nothing but a great face for the league. I'm not saying he's the face of the league, but he's been a great face for the league. He does everything the right way. You know what I'm saying? So for people to, just hate on him for no reason is just kind of mind-boggling as well, too. I mean, I guess it's one thing to criticize, but it's another thing to just have flat out hate, which I never understood as well, too. All this guy has known is winning. And just to remind you guys, six-time All-Star, four-time All-NBA, 2021-22 Eastern Conference MVP, one-time NBA champion. And in that championship run, he led his team in all major categories in points, rebound, assists. He was Rookie of the Year in the 2022-2023 All-Star MVP. And he was someone that was known as Iron Man for me, obviously, as well, too. And for his career averages is 24, 7, and 4, shooting 46% from the field and 37% from three and 84% from the free throw line as well, too. So I know his mindset. Obviously, one of his favorite players is Kobe. So um, I don't want him to rush back. I know right now he's, anxious to, get back and prove everyone wrong as well, too. But definitely take a page out of KD's book where KD kind of got injured around the same time, which was a month later, but he took that whole entire season off and then come back to the following season for the preseason. So he got injured 2019 and come back to the 2021, 2022 season. So take all the time you need. Let's see what Jaylen Brown can do. Shit, maybe he might get blessed like the David Robinson situation where David Robinson got hurt and the Spurs ended up getting the number one pick that following year. Maybe the Celtics can kind of be in that situation as well too, especially with this salary cap situation happening as well too. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it, and yeah, man, take your time with it. The league gonna miss you. It's not gonna be the same, but damn, the Eastern Conference is about to look weak as hell. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's gonna be looking very, 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 very weak. But um, yeah, man, just he was basically Iron Man before the injury. So that wear and tear, the pacing of the game is just I feel like a lot of players are getting even more injured, and obviously there's not as much practicing. So recovery time can be a little bit different. So we'll see what happens with JT, man. Prayers up to JT. Now, as far as changes, man, with the Denver Nuggets, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if they're obviously, one could argue that with the firing of Mike Malone, they just didn't. I think the strategies were a little bit different. The rotations were slightly different. And obviously the voice was a little bit different as well, too. But I was kind of impressed with what the assistant coach did. It seems like the players listened to him, took in everything they said. I mean, to kind of be tossed into the fire and go 7 games against the Clippers and 7 games against Oklahoma City says a lot. And like we said, who knows what that outcome would have been like if they had MPJ healthy with his shoulder and obviously the hamstring injury that was suffered by Aaron Gordon, things would have kind of been different as well too. Um, but as far as changes, man, they give me that Tim Duncan big three with Ginobili and Tony Parker feel where you have your big three. And I know everyone thinks they know who the big three is, but at least to me, their big three to me is Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Aaron Gordon. I think those are the centerpieces for that team. So you keep that three tandem intact, and then you continue to kind of mix and match, like I said, how the Spurs did as well too. Obviously, they never been the same ever since they lost Bruce Brown, ever since they lost Jeff Green as well too. Um, so that's one of the biggest things as well too. But with what I saw from Russell Westbrook this offseason, I mean this postseason run, and even for the regular season for them, and knowing he played on a veteran minimum, I'm definitely doing everything in my power to bring him back as well too. I love the yearly progressions that I'm also seeing from Christian Brown as well too. Um, and I think right now, like just looking at their roster, I gotta pull it up right now as well too. Young talent, like I said, I like Braun. Um, if I was them, I'd probably try to truly have a concrete plan for Julian Strawther as well too. I think that's someone that can definitely improve and take some of that pressure off of Jamal Murray, and then we can even see a nice backcourt lineup with them both on the floor as well too. So I think they could further develop him. Like I said, I think Christian Braun is definitely on the rise of improving marginally each year as well too. Bring Russell Westbrook back, and Joker plays a lot of minutes, man. I mean, he's in his prime. He's an MVP for a reason, but I think a solid backup big would do them wonders, in my opinion. Um, I'm not quite, I don't like to give up on people like that, but Peyton Watson, he's looking like a Cam Reddish to me. But it all comes down to mindset, on what you want to do. And if the team's willing to believe in you as well, too, they drafted you or traded for you for a reason. So maybe they look to, find a diamond in the rough in this year's draft. And then the biggest person that I wanted to kind of talk about was probably Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. obviously was not healthy, um, but at the same time, he kind of went out the same way last year, in that closeout game against the Minnesota Timberwolves as well too. So I think with his contract, man, you may have to look at shipping him as well too. He's a sniper. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's just like outside of your shooting, you're not the best perimeter defender. You can't really guard bigger players or guards. And you haven't really showed, maybe I'm tripping, but it doesn't look like he showed any improvements from an offensive standpoint in utilizing the pick and roll or beating his man off of his dribble or working in the post as well too. He moves well without the basketball. He's a great catch and shoot specialist as well too. But man, he's making a lot of money right now. A lot of money. So if they wanted to improve, man, I think a marginal improvement, I would have to look at the contract and see how it lines up. But going into next season, he's making $38 million. If you can throw in some future draft picks and let's say get Cam Johnson from the Brooklyn Nets, that's a game changer right there. So, and he had a career year as well too. So look at him to be moved on to another team as well too. But Denver, keep your core intact. Your coach got a little bit of experience under his belt. He can implement some things that he wants going into the next season as well too. If you tinker a little bit of things, I think you guys, especially with how the league's going with no more super teams, and like I said, I don't really see any more teams of any caliber, two-peating or having dynasties or anything like that. Especially with Joker being in his prime, they definitely have a shot. Like I said, they won 7 games and injuries literally changed the outcome of that series. So we'll see what happens with that. And then with the Cleveland Cavaliers, man, that shit hurt me with Donovan Mitchell. I'm not gonna lie. That shit hurt me with Donovan Mitchell. Um, just a baller. And knowing what I know now about the Celtics, bro, this is the year that they had to really at least get to the conference finals, get to the NBA finals, or even win a championship as well, too. So to see them kind of just wear down and fold like that, that kind of sucks as well, too. So with them, I think, Kenny can do a better job at really trying to utilize his bigs a little bit more. Um, and maybe they can go out and get some better pieces for the bench. Like I think a Jordan Clarkson would have worked with them well, just a certified bucket getter. I like DeAndre Hunter, but he's kind of an all-around player. And I think you may look at moving on from Jared Allen and getting another center. And then you may have to move on from Darius Garland. I'm not gonna lie, I love Darius Garland, and I kind of want to give him grace. But at the end of the day, if you're out there, you got to go play. And he's going to be making, I think, $40 million next year. So I've never been a fan of that small backcourt uh, lineup just because of what it does for you from a defensive standpoint. So, and I'm just, thinking of like Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, like that just never really works. So Donovan is the type of player who's a combo guard, at the end of the day. And I think he can play a little bit of point guard, like I said. He can play also shooting guard as well, too. Very dynamic. But one person I may do or try to trade for Garland if they're about it. I know he's injury prone, but hey, he's only 28 years old. They make around the same money. Brandon Ingram, past couple of years, he's been playing that point forward, point guard position, and that's where we're kind of going in today's league. I think if you can add him and then, like I said, flip Jarrett Allen. I'm trying to think of a center now, but I can't really think right now on who. Something's gonna come back to me, but hey, it's a whole different ball game. You get Jordan Clarkson. Hey, we looking a little bit better, especially with Celtics. Hey, it's house money. So that's something that I'm kind of looking forward to see what they kind of do to improve. And I think it's just human nature not to stay intact and just keep it moving as well too. So we'll see what happens with that. Draft lottery. NBA draft lottery was last week. I don't even know what to say about this. I don't know what to say about the draft lottery. I mean, y'all know me. My favorite player, Kawhi, but my favorite team is San Antonio Spurs. That's just how I rock. You know what I'm saying? I know I haven't showed them as much love these past couple losing years, but I'm looking forward to the future and see what happens with that as well too. But wow, Dallas got the number one pick. Spurs got the number two pick. Philadelphia got the number three pick. Charlotte four, Utah five, Wizards six, Pelicans seven, Brooklyn eight, Raptors nine, Houston 10, Portland 11, Chicago 12, Hawks 13, and Spurs 14. So the Spurs got two top 15 picks, which is going to be great for them. But I was looking at I was looking at the draft odds, bro. Utah had a 14% chance. So it was a three-way tie between Utah, the Washington Wizards, and the Charlotte Hornets of getting the number one pick. And Charlotte fell to, like I said, number four. Utah fell to number five. And New Orleans dipped all the way to seven, which is crazy. And the Spurs had a 6% chance, it looks like, to get the number two pick. And then Dallas had a 1.8 chance of getting the number one pick. But NBA just weird, bro. I love it. I love it a lot. But like, let's just go down memory lane. Anthony Davis, while he was a Pelican, he asked to be traded to the Los Angeles Lakers, and they flipped they flipped draft picks, and Zion Williamson becomes the number. I mean, not Zion Williamson. The Pelicans get the number one pick and draft Zion Williamson. Um, Bron decides to take his talents to South Beach, and the Cleveland Cavaliers get multiple, not only number one picks, but lottery picks. Um, the Spurs, they know Coach Pop is aging. They know Wemby's a foreign player, and if there's any team that is the signature for foreign, um, having foreign talent is the San Antonio Spurs. They get that number one pick. D Rose is from Chicago. Chicago gets the number one pick. LeBron's from Ohio, Akron, Ohio, and Cleveland gets the number one pick. Just kind of crazy. Just kind of crazy. And then they knew with the ratings going down and LeBron being on his way out, with Boston playing well, the Knicks playing well, these major market teams doing relatively pretty well, and one of the most historic franchises being the Los Angeles Lakers, they had to get something done. So I know they said, hey, I can't even think of his name right now, but GM for the Dallas Mavericks, hey, you're gonna have to take a fall. Has a little money under the table real quick. Trade Luca. We'll give you the number one pick. And everybody's saying, oh, they should trade the number one pick to get this and this and that. This is a great white hope. This is the whole point of the capture the flag sweepstakes. Um, we haven't had a white American player with this much upside and and promise in a long time. So if you got the opportunity to get Cooper Flag, you go ahead and get Cooper Flag, man. Kyrie probably gonna be back by All-Star break. Anthony Davis is one of the best two-way players. He just got to stay healthy. You still got PJ, got Derek Lively. I don't know what's gonna happen with Daniel Gafford. You got that. I can't think of his name, but light skinned dude that got traded from the Lakers. They got Clay Thompson. They got a squad. And with Kyrie not being there, Cooper Flag has a chance to get a lot of opportunities. So there's a reason why ticket sales went up as well too. So Dallas, don't fuck this up. Please don't fuck this up. And then the end things with the San Antonio Spurs, number two pick. Number two pick is crazy. Now, right now we're in a win now situation. Like I said, every year is a new champion. It's up for grabs, but I think you have to. Do your due diligence. I know what Giannis is. He's going to have a conversation really soon with the front office to see what he wants to do, but it's really going to come down to what Giannis wants to do. And if you are the San Antonio Spurs, I know this is not how you normally do things. You, like I said, you draft well, and you get old vets, develop your talent, and see where things go. But hey, it's a new era. Wemby's in his not even in his prime yet, and it shows so much promise this year. You got De'Aaron Fox, you got Castle. If Giannis wants out, because it doesn't look that bright for the Milwaukee Bucks, and I mean, you kind of got some assets you can trade, but Dame also being out another year. Giannis always saying he at the above everything else he wants to win. You, if he wants to leave, why not go to San Antonio, man? Why not go to San Antonio? You get the number two pick, then you get the number 15 pick. We can give you Vassell. If you want Jeremy Sohan, you can get him. Expiring contract. We got young talent. We got expiring contracts that we can kind of get rid of and offload, but that's a great situation. And because Wemby can space the floor, I think that it will work well. They would be the scariest frontline defensive anchors in this era, and that automatically catapults them to a championship contending team. And if we don't get him, I'm okay with that as well too. Terrence, he's also a fan of college basketball, and he's really high on Dylan Harper, and that's as of right now is the projected number two pick. But if we can get if we can get Dylan Harper and Giannis decides he wants to stay or he goes elsewhere, I'm okay with that as well too. I'm just a little worried about how that kind of works with Fox wanting to be in San Antonio and him being the point guard. Um, and it seems like Harper likes to have his ball in his hands. They just loosen up the chains or the ropes or whatever you want to call it for Stephon Castle. He was rookie of the year when he's coming back into the fold. So I would like to see how that works. But I mean, I'm not mad either way. But like I said, if you have an opportunity to get one of the best players of this generation and who's gonna obviously be top 75, already is top 75, while he's 30 years old, you go for him. I'm not getting rid of that second pick for Asian Kevin Durant that's 37 or about to be 37. I'm not giving it up for Brown. I'm not giving it up for any of these other players. It's either Giannis all in, but we continue to grind. Like I said, draft Dylan Harper, get a backup big in free agency or through trade. We got the assets and we just ball. So I'm looking forward to, what that's gonna look like as well too. And last but not least, these conference finals, man. These conference finals. I got a couple notes that I have here as well too. So we got a rematch. We got a rematch with Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers versus the New York Knicks. And shout out to WWE, man. WWE script writers, chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. How all that got orchestrated, and then fast forwarding into right now, the current. This is gonna be a great one. An old school rivalry renewed, man. Both teams are playing really well, play with a chip on their shoulder. It's gonna be a great series, man. But I put a couple things down, man. You know, the Knicks play a physical brand of basketball. They're gonna beat you up. They're gonna fight through screens. They're gonna try to get you in a half court set. And with Coach Tibbs, he trusts his dog, so he probably only gonna play 6, 7 people max, maybe 8, depending on if there's foul trouble. But it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. Obviously, the head of the snake is Jalen Brunson. Um, and obviously you have the clutch player of the year, the acquisition of Karl Anthony Towns, their wing defenders and Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby and even Josh Hart, who's their heart and soul, man. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. They gotta definitely execute in half court. And like I said, they shorten their rotations. But the thing about the Pacers is obviously they're led by um Tyrese Halliburton, but at the same time, man, their ability to push the tempo and maintain their energy level has been a hallmark for their playoff success as well too. Having Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam, TJ McConnell, Nembhard, Tyrese Halliburton, like I said, Obi Toppin, Mathurin, like they have so much depth. And with their strategy, they really just focus on exploiting transition opportunities and really utilizing their depth to wear down opponents. And like I said, that could be something that you guys should look out for. Where, like I said earlier, Tibbs only plays a limited amount of players, and you got I can't think of his name right now, but the head coach. Rick Carlisle. You got Rick Carlisle, who is not afraid to go 9, 10 deep. So the Knicks, they gonna have to control that tempo. They got to play at their pace. They can't. They got to take care of the ball, and they got to play at their pace. Keep it close. You got clutch play of the year. You may have a chance. With the Pacers, like I said, their bench, they really wear you down and keep that tempo the whole time. So that's gonna be interesting. And I know the Celtics, like I said, they were the better team, but with the Pacers, bro, if they're up, I don't see them blowing the lead. They're gonna put their foot on the gas. They're not gonna chuck up threes. They're gonna take quality shots. They're gonna give up good shots for great shots. So that's gonna be interesting as well too. Rebounding battle, controlling the boards is gonna be crucial, especially for the Knicks. Like I said, they have to limit the Pacers transition opportunities as well too. So I'm curious to see who's gonna be guarding who. You're probably gonna have Josh Hart on Tyrese Halliburton. Hmm. Definitely multiple bodies on Tyrese Halliburton. Um, and they just gonna have to fight through them screens. I mean, OG and Mikal are one of the best at fighting over them screens. Um, because Cat likes to play drop coverage, but they may have to mix it up a little bit. Either like you're gonna have to have some times when you switch and have some times when you obviously have drop coverage, but it's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be a battle. And I'm happy both teams are healthy. I may have to go with the confidence that the New York Knicks has had and how they've been in a lot of battles and close games. I think I trust Jalen Brunson in that team to win the series. Plus, they have home court advantage. Yeah, I got the Knicks in seven. I got the Knicks in seven. Yeah, I got the Knicks in seven. And now we have the 2025 Western Conference Finals matchup between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Get your popcorn ready. We got mid 80s Michael Jordan and Anthony Edwards going up against 0102 Kobe Bean Bryant reincarnation himself. We got the MVP versus the the poster child for YNs. Both teams are evenly matched essentially with their depth and like I said, their star. This is also a narrative that you can kind of spin as well too, where Shea gives Alexander, obviously he's Canadian, but he's MVP and him and Ant are going to be battling low key to see who is the face of the league with Jason Tatum out of the picture at the moment, as well too. So in the regular season, it looks like the Wolves tied the series with OKC 2 games to 2. And the last time they played, um, I think, well, in those 4 games they played, Randall only played 1 game, and Ant kind of struggled against them from a shooting perspective while Shea got off. So Shea averaged 35.7 rebounds, 6.8 assists in 4 games against the Timberwolves, and Anthony Edwards only averaged 22 points, but he rebounded the ball well with 9 rebounds and had 6 assists as well too in those 4 games. Also, Dante DiVincenzo missed as well too. So, like I said, both teams are great defensively. Um, I think this season OKC led the league with defensive rating of 101.6 in the playoffs, and at least in the regular season, they forced in the 2 wins that they had against the Minnesota Timberwolves, they forced 37 turnovers, which converted them to 51 points. So you definitely, from that standpoint, with Minnesota, you have to take care of the ball. And I think part of that kind of plays into Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo not playing as well too. Obviously, Mike Conley's a little bit older, but I felt like in those games, and I'm going to have to rewatch. They probably blitzed Anthony Edwards and showed him multiple bodies. But one of the reasons why I also like this trade with that Minnesota made for Julius Randle for Karl Anthony Towns was, as great as Cat is, I just feel like Julius Randle has the same productivity from an offensive standpoint in points production. But more, he can take that pressure off of Anthony Edwards to help distribute and play make for him as well too. And like I said, Dante DiVincenzo is another guy that adds that element of bringing the ball up the court and setting up that offense as well too. So I think they're going to do a better job at taking care of the ball as well too. With Julius Randle, he's been balling, man. Damn near averaging 24, like 5 and 6 this series, shooting at a high clip, shooting well from three. I will say with the Lakers, Bron basically had to play the five. Jackson Hayes barely got minutes. So Julius Randle was able to exploit that. Um, Draymond Green's really only 6'5", 6'6". Loney's, no one really thinks of fear as far as rim protection. So he had favorable matchups. Absolutely. And with Chet and Hartenstein being that front line, I'm curious to see if Julius Randle can maintain that aggressiveness on the offensive end and still be a top tier defender. He's been looking pretty good as well too. So it's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be interesting. So keys, I think, is gonna be that turnover battle. Oklahoma City's ability to just force turnovers could disrupt Minnesota's offense, but you can say that star. I mean, you can say that vice versa. Um, and the stars got to show out, man. Sometimes Anthony Edwards likes to fall in love with that three. He can be a little bit streaky. Um, but he has to match Shea's output. He has to match Shea's output. I know Shea gonna give me 30 damn near every game and be up and down sometimes. Um, I feel like I said, the depth could be a deciding factor. Minnesota's bench has been productive, but OKC's defensive minded reserves could swing that momentum, especially with Alex Caruso coming in that game, and then the pace and tempo. Um, Controlling the game's pace will be crucial. And the Thunder may look to speed up the game just a bit, while the Timberwolves prefer more of a deliberate approach. And coaching, obviously, Coach Finch definitely didn't do the best when they lost to the Dallas Mavericks last year. And we can nitpick at all that as well, too. But it seems like he's improved a lot more this year. So it's going to be an interesting series. I think it's really just going to come down to, I know Jalen Williams was kind of up and down this past series, and honestly, Minnesota's a better defensive team. So I think he's learned a lot within these past 2 weeks with this 7 game series. Um, but they got bodies, man. They got bodies. They probably gonna put I probably put McDaniels on Shea, Anthony Edwards on J Dub, Mike Conley on Lou Dort, Randall on Chet, and Gobert on Hartenstein. And I think Gobert is actually going to have a great series as well too. Just having the ability to stay in the game because they play with the big, really making it hard for them because Jalen Williams, that quick first step he has, pays Shea's uh, change of pace he has to get to the basket. I think we're going to see a lot from from Rudy Gobert this series as well too. So I expect him to have a double double and play at least 35 minutes a night. But yeah, it's gonna come down to the bench. Which bench is gonna show up and who's gonna be that team to take care of home court. Um, I love both superstars, and I like what the front office has done. I like it a lot too. Um, I might have to go with. I think OKC's been more battle tested this past second round, beating a championship caliber team. So I got OKC in 7 games, and I got the New York Knicks going against Oklahoma City Thunder in this year's 2025 NBA Finals. So that was it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this emergency podcast. Like I said, this was episode 152 of the Seezus Show. Make sure to subscribe on all forms of social media at Sir Seezus, at the Seezus Show, at Terrence Willie underscore, at Carl Conyers. And until next time, we out.